Graphic. Breaking. Trump at the UN. The speech that stunned world leaders. Voiceover. Tonight we unpack a UN speech that stunned world leaders and left governments reeling. Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. If you watched the United Nations today, you saw a speech that felt more like a global ultimatum than a statesman's address. For nearly an hour, President Donald Trump ripped into the UN, blasted European governments, and issued warnings that have made diplomats and analysts sit up straighter. In this video, I'll read the key moments, explain the hidden meaning, and tell you exactly why this speech could change global politics. Reuters. Start with the scene setting. The General Assembly Hall, the faces of leaders, the phones and cameras, then the interruptions. Trump went off the script, disparaged Europe's migration policies, attacked global institutions, and repeatedly challenged the UN's credibility. He even criticized the teleprompter and other technical issues in a way that suggested the flaws themselves were proof of the UN's dysfunction. Reporters noted teleprompter and escalator problems were highlighted during the live address. AP News. He delivered a long, combative address, nearly an hour, that mixed policy pronouncements with provocation. Reuters and other outlets described it as a return to the hardline tone he used in past years. Reuters. Cut to, short clip, stills or B-roll of the UN hall and headlines. Now the lines everyone is quoting. Talk of Europe going to hell, claims that migration is destroying countries, and the blunt warning about nuclear weapons, the part that made diplomats gasp. Trump framed a doomsday scenario. If nuclear weapons are used in a confrontation, no United Nations will survive, essentially saying a nuclear exchange would erase international institutions and much of global life. That line was picked up across major outlets and caused immediate alarm. The Times of Israel. Pause here and let the audience sit with that. A top powers leader publicly saying the world risks total destruction if nuclear weapons are used. That is not a routine diplomatic sentence. It's a geopolitical threat and a warning rolled into one. This is crucial. Who is the implied target? Russia and regional conflicts. Trump framed his remarks against states he believes fund or enable wars, pointing fingers at foreign actors in the Ukraine war and other crisis zones. China and India. He accused big Asian powers of contributing to global instability and said some states are enabling conflicts that undermine world order. Foreign policy. Global institutions. His tone suggested the UN itself is ineffective and old rules no longer serve American interests. The White House. In short, the speech read like a leader warning other great powers. We have weapons, we will not hesitate, and if they are used, it will be catastrophic for everyone. That is a public escalation, not a private deterrent. Let's unpack the nuclear message. There are two ways to read such remarks. Deterrence framing. We have overwhelming capability, do not mess with us. This is classic Cold War-style signaling, meant to prevent aggression. Escalatory framing. Public chest thumping that can provoke panic and miscalculation by adversaries or allies. Either way, a public leader saying, if we use our nukes, nothing will remain, injects grave risk. Nuclear doctrines are usually hidden, calibrated, and wrapped in ambiguity. Once you put it in a public theatrical address, you increase the danger of misreading and accidental escalation. Analysts have already flagged that rhetorical escalation is dangerous when states are in active crises. PBS. How did others react? European leaders were visibly uncomfortable. Many have been criticized by Trump for migration policies and now face public rebuke on a global stage. Reuters and Al Jazeera covered leaders' squirming responses. Reuters. Media outlets around the world split. Some celebrated the bluntness, others warned this was dangerously provocative. Coverage ranged from Fox's supportive framing to PBS and BBC fact-checks on claims about climate and migration. Fox News. Diplomats privately told reporters they were alarmed by the nuclear tone and by the public undermining of international institutions. The UN press office and reports later clarified what happened with the teleprompter and logistics. AP News. Cut to, montage of global headlines and short sound bites. Your original concern, how this speech ties into Middle Eastern flashpoints, is valid. Trump's lines on Gaza, Palestinian statehood, and the geopolitics of the region make a difference. He explicitly stated that he does not support recognition of a Palestinian state under current conditions, which is a stance that will strengthen Israel's diplomatic position and anger many in the Arab and Muslim world. This feeds tensions that are already explosive in the region. Coverage of his line on Palestinian statehood and related remarks appeared in outlet transcripts and reporting today. The Times of Israel. If your viewers are worried about sacrifices, looting of resources, or realpolitik, land, money, reconstruction, you're right. Geopolitics often includes economic and territorial influence. Powerful actors plan for post-conflict leverage. You saw in past conflicts how economic winners benefit long after the headlines fade. Trump's remarks about influence and control over post-conflict reconstruction are also a reminder that political rhetoric often masks economic intent. Be skeptical because this is where real power is consolidated. Worst case, rhetoric accelerates tensions and produces a miscalculation, a limited strike that spirals. Nuclear rhetoric increases the chance of misinterpretation and the risk of escalation when many actors are already on edge. More likely case, this speech hardens positions, reshuffles alliances, and forces countries to make new calculations about security and partnerships. Expect more diplomatic back channels, increased military readiness in hotspots, and renewed urgency around arms control conversations. So, what should viewers take away? 3 things. Don't panic, but don't ignore it. Words like this matter and will shape policy, budgets, and alliances. Watch the follow-up. Real policy changes come through actions, budgets, and deployments, not just speeches. Look for those signs. Demand accountability. When a leader makes nuclear or doomsday statements in public, citizens and journalists should press for clarity about doctrine and safeguards. If this speech taught us anything, it's that global stability still depends on restraint, transparent lines of communication, and institutions that survive political theatrics. And
please share this video as much as you can. Subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts in the comments so we can include your questions and key points in our upcoming videos.